You know that moment in every bad TV drama when the camera zooms in, the violin plays, and the hero realizes they've been stabbed in the back? Yeah, that was me. Except instead of blood, it was transmission fluid leaking out of a 2019 Chevy Tahoe because my sister forgot to tighten the oil cap during a routine inspection. Let me rewind. No, actually, let me start at the ending. The day my parents begged me to save the family auto business, I was eating a $6.99 steak at Big Joe's Diner, minding my own business, when my phone started buzzing like a mosquito with ADHD. It was Mom, then Dad, then Mom again, then my sister, probably by accident because she once called Domino's thinking it was 911. I didn't pick up. Why? Because some betrayals deserve a little revenge, the slow burn kind. Like when you leave milk in someone's fridge just long enough for it to smell like regret. The truth is, I'd already been demoted in my own family long before they officially handed the keys over to my sister. Our family business was my life. And not just in a, hey, I work here way. I'd been there since I was 16, sweating through my shirt in the July heat, learning how to rebuild engines from a guy named Rusty. And yes, he lived up to the name. I skipped college because Dad swore, "This business will be yours someday, son." Apparently someday meant never, and yours meant we're giving it to the least competent human in a 50-mile radius. Why my sister? According to Mom, she had the personality for it. Personality? This is a woman who once got banned from a PTA meeting for calling the president a budget dictator because they switched to cheaper coffee. She has the organizational skills of a raccoon in a kitchen at 3 a.m. But sure, let's give her control of payroll, inventory, and the dealership's reputation. That makes sense. When I found out, it wasn't even from my parents. No, that would require honesty. I heard it from our supplier, who casually mentioned, "Hey, your sister just ordered $12,000 worth of decorative license plate frames. That's normal, right?" It was like hearing your toxic love ex just married your best friend. You can't decide if you're mad, heartbroken, or just impressed at the audacity. Of course, my parents framed it as an opportunity for growth. For who, me? Or the business that was now being run like a summer camp for spoiled children? They claimed they didn't want me to be tied down, as if the years I'd already invested were just some casual fling and not a full-on marriage to the job. Speaking of marriage, my sister's romantic life could be its own reality show. Cheating mechanics of the Midwest. Her latest boyfriend, Chad, was a former used car salesman with a smile you could see from space and ethics you couldn't find with a telescope. Naturally, she made him assistant manager. And here's where the conspiracy kicks in. I'm convinced this whole transfer of power wasn't just a bad decision. No, it was a plot. My parents didn't just want her to have the business. They wanted me gone. Why? Simple. I asked too many questions. Like why we suddenly had creative accounting entries in the books, or why the garage cameras accidentally stopped working the week a brand new shipment of tires disappeared. Maybe they thought I'd blow the whistle. Maybe they just didn't like the way I called out their obvious favoritism. Either way, I was out, she was in, and the family Thanksgiving table was now basically a live reenactment of Game of Thrones, minus the dragons, but with the same amount of wine. And the thing is, I could have stopped it. I could have lawyered up, made a scene, dragged the whole betrayal into court. But some revenge tastes better when you let the other person think they're winning. So I left. I let them believe they'd gotten rid of me for good. I moved across town, opened a small custom repair shop, just to keep my hands busy, and waited. Waited for the day when their golden child would drive the business straight into a ditch, metaphorically. but also maybe literally given her track record with vehicles. So when that phone started buzzing at Big Joe's diner, I knew. I didn't need to answer to know the walls were caving in. And God, it felt good. That's the thing about family betrayal. It stings, but it also makes the eventual collapse of the traitor's empire taste like the best damn $6.99 steak you've ever had. I didn't even have to try. The collapse was basically televised for me in real time. All I had to do was sit on my porch with a cold beer, watch the parade of disasters roll by, and occasionally mutter, "Called it." Within 3 weeks of my sister taking over, the first scandal hit. A customer posted on Facebook, not Yelp, not Google, Facebook, which is basically the town's unofficial court of public opinion, a full-blown rant about how their car came back from an oil change smelling like perfume and missing $2 in quarters from the cup holder. You'd think that was a joke. Nope. And the kicker? The assistant manager, also known as my sister's boyfriend, Chad, replied publicly with, "Well, maybe you shouldn't be so uptight about your change, Karen." I nearly choked on my Coors, but that was just the appetizer. Over the next month, the business went from family-owned and trusted to the place where cars go to die. Appointments got double-booked, invoices disappeared, and one poor guy's pickup got accidentally sold while it was still in for repairs. My sister claimed it was just a clerical error, but I'm pretty sure Chad pocketed the deposit money to fund his weekend poker games. I started hearing whispers around town. The employees who hadn't already quit were jumping ship faster than rats on the Titanic. My old crew, the guys who actually knew how to fix cars, were either calling me for work or swearing they'd never set foot in that garage again. Even Rusty, who once stuck with us through a summer with no AC, said, "Kid, it's a sinking ship, and your sister's steering straight into the iceberg." And then came the grand event, the one that made local news. See, my sister decided to host a customer appreciation day to rebuild trust. Sounds harmless, right? Except she rented a bounce house, hired a DJ, and forgot to actually schedule any staff for the repair bays. Customers showed up with cars needing service, only to be handed free hot dogs and told to come back, maybe next week. Someone's kid spilled soda into a customer's open engine compartment. Someone else's dog ran off with a half-eaten bratwurst and started a tug-of-war in the parking lot. The police had to show up, twice. By the end of the day, 3 cars were towed. A bounce house was deflated in a fit of rage, and Chad was seen trying to flirt with the DJ's girlfriend. The fallout was brutal. Contracts were canceled. The dealership across town started running ads with the slogan, "We fix it right the first time." My sister tried to clap back on Instagram, but the only comment she got was from some guy saying, "Nice filter, shame about the service." Meanwhile, my parents started getting that look. The one you see in reality shows when a contestant realizes they've bet all their money on the wrong horse. Mom started calling more often, trying to make small talk about how I've been, before casually slipping in questions like, "You wouldn't happen to know how to fix a—" "Oh, never mind." A dad, on the other hand, tried the tough guy approach. He'd say stuff like, "Things aren't as bad as people make it sound," while you could literally hear the panic in his voice. The best part? I didn't lift a finger. I didn't sabotage, didn't spread rumors, didn't have to. My family was perfectly capable of self-destruction without my help. I just sat back, sipping my beer, watching the Facebook posts pile up. Some of them were so ridiculous I thought they had to be fake. One woman swore my sister's mechanic tried to upsell her on replacing her blinker fluid. Another claimed Chad offered to personally drive her car home so she wouldn't have to wait. And somehow her wallet ended up missing $20. By month 4, The business was bleeding cash so fast you could hear the drip. The bank started asking questions. Then, rumor had it, my sister maxed out the company credit card on a team-building trip to Las Vegas. She called it an investment in morale. I call it 3 nights of tequila shots and bad decisions. And that's when it happened. The moment I'd been waiting for. Mom showed up at my shop. No phone call. No warning. She looked deflated. The same woman who once told me I'd never survive without family now stood there clutching her purse like it was a life preserver. She started with small talk, but within 5 minutes she cracked. "We need you back. You're the only one who can save us." I leaned back in my chair, pretending to think about it while inside. Every cell in my body was screaming, "There it is, the sweet sound of surrender." Revenge doesn't always come in the form of dramatic showdowns. Sometimes it's just the simple pleasure of watching the people who pushed you away crawl back on their knees. And oh, trust me, I wasn't done making them squirm. When my mom showed up that first time, I figured it was just an appetizer. The real groveling would take time. I was right. 2 days later, she came back, this time with Dad in tow. They looked like they'd just been evicted from their own lives. Dad's shirt was wrinkled. Mom's hair had lost its battle with humidity. And both had that wild-eyed expression of people who'd seen their retirement fund go up in smoke. They didn't waste time with pleasantries. Mom sat down like she was about to confess to a priest. Except the priest was me and I was still holding a socket wrench. Dad just stood there, staring at the floor like it owed him money. And then it came out. "We made a mistake," Mom said, voice trembling like she was auditioning for a soap opera. "Your sister, she's not handling things the way we hoped." Translation: she drove the business straight off a cliff and somehow set it on fire on the way down. I leaned against my workbench, letting the silence stretch until it was uncomfortable enough to make Dad shift in his seat. "And what exactly did you expect?" I asked. "That the woman who once tried to microwave a frozen turkey in its plastic wrap would suddenly become the next Elon Musk?" Dad winced. Mom pushed on. "We thought you were too hard on people, too strict. We wanted a softer touch. But it turns out, customers prefer their engines fixed over being offered cupcakes." The words "too hard" hit me like a joke that's been told one too many times. I remembered the years I'd put in. Every late night, every double shift, every holiday I spent under the hood of a car instead of at a barbecue. And now, after all that, my parents had replaced me with the family's least reliable member because they thought I wasn't fun enough. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream. Instead, I let them talk. They rambled about the debt, the lost customers, the lawsuits. Yes, plural. Apparently Chad had sold a lemon to a local cop's cousin. And the fact that they were 3 payroll cycles away from bankruptcy. "We need you back," Dad said finally, looking up with the same face he used when I was a kid, and he'd just realized he forgot my birthday. "You're the only one who can save this family business." There it was, the big pitch, the moment they thought would melt my icy heart and make me come riding back in like some knight in greasy armor. But instead of giving them an answer, I decided to have a little fun. "Oh, I don't know," I said, inspecting my nails like I just stepped out of a toxic love scandal in a tabloid magazine. "I'm pretty busy running my own shop, and unlike some people, I actually know how to turn a profit." Mom's eyes filled with tears, the kind you're not sure are from genuine regret or from the realization that they might lose their house. Dad's jaw tightened. "This is about revenge, isn't it?" he snapped. I tilted my head. "Revenge? No. This is about betrayal. You handed over everything I built to someone who can't even balance her own checkbook, and now you want me to clean up her mess. That's not revenge. That's stupidity. They tried bargaining next. Promises of shared ownership, control over operations, even a cut of the profits once things turned around. It was like being offered a seat on the Titanic in exchange for helping plug the hole with my bare hands. And then came the kicker. The real reason they'd given my sister the business in the first place. Mom lowered her voice like she was about to reveal a state secret. We thought, if we gave her this, she'd settle down. Stop running around. Oh, you mean the string of cheating scandals that made her dating life look like a season of The Bachelor, Mechanics Edition? The trips to Cancun with friends while her boyfriend was stuck at home? The time she disappeared for 2 weeks and came back with a tattoo in a language she couldn't identify? Yeah, giving her control of $1 million business was definitely going to fix that. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing in their faces. This wasn't just a bad business decision. It was a full-blown family delusion. Finally, I stood up, wiping my hands on a rag. You want my answer? I asked. They both nodded like kids waiting for the teacher to hand back their test scores. I took a deep breath, looked them dead in the eye, and said, no. No explanation. No qualifiers. Just that one word, delivered like a final gavel strike in a courtroom. The silence afterward was the kind you can feel pressing on your eardrums. Mom's lip trembled. Dad's fists clenched. Somewhere in the distance, a car horn blared. Fitting, considering this was the sound of their last hope driving away. I walked them to the door, not because I'm polite, but because I didn't want them lingering long enough to guilt-trip me. As they stepped outside, I called after them. Next time you want to save the business, try hiring someone who knows the difference between a carburetor and a coffee grinder. And with that, I shut the door. The breaking point had passed. They'd made their bed, and now they could watch it catch fire. The thing about saying no is, it's addictive. Once you realize you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm, you start turning down all kinds of nonsense. Dinner invitations from people you don't like. Opportunities that are just unpaid labor in a new costume. Family guilt trips disguised as tradition. It's like discovering a superpower you didn't know you had. So when I shut that door behind my parents, I didn't feel guilt. I felt free. Free from the constant obligation. Free from the cycle of me building and them breaking. And yes, I'll admit it. Free to watch the whole mess unravel like a soap opera marathon I didn't have to pay for. And unravel it did. The week after my no, word got out that the family business had bounced its payroll checks. Employees started posting cryptic status updates like, on to better things and can't fix stupid. A few even tagged my shop, which made my phone blow up with new customers faster than you can say free marketing. Then came the Valentine's Day massacre. Not the historical one, the one where my sister's toxic love life finally imploded in public. Chad, the loyal assistant manager and part-time grifter, was caught in the break room making out with one of the part-time receptionists. The twist? My sister wasn't even mad about the cheating. She was mad because they knocked over a tray of cupcakes meant for a customer event. Priorities. By now, the gossip mill was running on overdrive. People were coming into my shop just to spill the latest tea. Did you hear she tried to trade a company truck for a week at some spa? Apparently the bank is calling in the loan. Rumor has it they might sell to that chain dealership in the next town. It was like a buffet of schadenfreude, and I was eating it up. And here's where the revenge part gets interesting. I didn't sabotage anything. I didn't need to. But I did quietly buy the old warehouse across the street from the family shop, slapped a fresh coat of paint on it, put up a new sign, and started offering comeback special discounts to any customer who could show me a receipt from my sister's business in the past year. It was petty. It was perfect. A month later, the for sale sign went up on the old place. Mom called one last time, not to ask me to come back, but to tell me they'd made peace with the decision to sell. She tried to frame it as a noble act, like they were retiring gracefully. I didn't call her out. I just said, "Hope it works out for you," and hung up. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's letting them live with the truth. The new owners gutted the place, got rid of the bad reviews, overhauled the service, and within 6 months, business was booming again, which only proved what I'd been saying for years. The problem wasn't the business, it was the people running it. My sister moved to Florida with some guy she met on a boat. Last I heard, she was starting a lifestyle brand and selling motivational mugs on Etsy. Chad? No idea. Probably banned from another state by now. As for me, my shop kept growing. I hired some of the old crew back, the ones who'd actually cared. We didn't just fix cars, we fixed reputations. People liked coming to a place where the only drama was whether we'd run out of coffee before noon. Do I miss the old family business? Not really. The building might be gone, the name might be sold, but the real loss happened the day my parents decided that betrayal was an acceptable management strategy. You can rebuild a garage. You can't rebuild trust. Not when it's been stripped down and left rusting in the yard. Every now and then I still drive past the old lot. It's different now. Bright, shiny, busy. I'll park across the street for a minute, just watching the cars pull in and out, the new team working like a well-oiled engine. And in that quiet moment, I feel something unexpected. Not bitterness, not anger, just closure. Because here's the thing. Walking away didn't ruin me. It saved me. And maybe that's the final twist in this whole messy family saga. Sometimes the best way to win is not to fight for the old crown, but to build a better one on your own. And if that crown just happens to sit across the street from the ashes of the empire that tried to cut you out, well, let's just say it looks pretty damn good from where I'm standing.